Dave Strader, Brian Engblom, welcome you to Montreal. Brian, you know full well how much pride Canadian hockey fans have. There's been so much talk about how loud it was in Canadians' national capital last night, Ottawa. They are trying to equal the noise, and Tom Barrasso's going to have to put up with that.
Yeah, he sure is. Kevin Constantine said all year, he's the reason where we are where we are. The question is, Tommy, where are you going from here? And Andy Moog at the other end of the ice, tremendous courage in the last game. He took a shot off the inside of the knee. It was a one-goal hockey game at that point. I think his team would have been pretty anxious if they'd had to make a goaltender change at that point. He stayed in. They won the game.
The Montreal Canadiens, a lot of history, obviously, with this franchise. 22 of the 25 series that they've led 3-2, they have won. The only times they have lost, you see listed there most recently in 1994 against the Boston Bruins, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Well, they have a little history, too. They've won 3 of the last 4 playoff series that they've trailed 3-2. But you know that the players that are on these respective teams can't worry about history, can't worry about what past teams have done. Bill McCreary is the referee. Brad Lazarowicz and Randy Mitten are the linesmen.
Well, for the Pittsburgh Penguins here tonight, Dave, it's not going to be systems that are going to keep them in this series. It's going to be heart, and they need it tonight.
Jaromir Jagr is starting out with his usual line mates of Ron Francis and Stu Barnes. And once again, Alain Vigneault comes with Zarley Zalewski, that third defenseman who plays left wing, with Marc Bureau. And Benoit Brunet, number 17, is back in the lineup after being shaken up in Game 5. And we are underway here at the Molson Center. Good pressure here by Francis. Forces a turnover. Centering pass. Moog made a stop. The puck is loose to the right of his net as Andy Moog, the veteran, called upon early. Back to the point that was anticipated and cleared by Bureau. That clears the lane now for Malakoff. It was just knocked away in the playoff side.
Well, Pittsburgh coming out with a good push early on. Andy Moog with his first big save of the night, and boy, did the Montreal Canadiens need that. They have struggled at home. They've been under 500 in this building all season long. And look at that scoring chance. Well, actually, pardon me, that was not Andy Moog. That was a really good defensive play down low in front of him. I believe Zalewski got his stick in that. Andy never even had to make the save. But nonetheless, Pittsburgh coming out with a good push early on. Yeah, it was Zalewski's stick, most definitely. Nice recovery job there. Kevin Constantine having his boys pumped up for this game, obviously, and that's what they really need. They've been riding a roller coaster throughout this entire series. They need to be on the up part now.
One of the things they talked about this morning, Brian, was they have to get a little bit of pressure on the Montreal defense deep in the zone. There's been very little forecheck, very little pressuring of that very first pass, and we saw Ron Francis do it on the very first shift of the hockey game, and it nearly turned into a great scoring opportunity as the Canadiens answer with a hit that brings a response from the crowd here.
Well, Montreal's been using that 3 defenseman system so much, and they've used it very effectively, and they have cleared the zone well because of it.
This is going to be an icing on the touch-up by Hatcher.
Momentum means everything. When you're in a game like this, Kevin Hatcher and his boys know that they have to get a good start. They've accomplished that, but they have to carry it on. There's the key guy for the Montreal Canadiens. Vladimir Malakoff has had a terrific series. He only has 9 shots on goal, and that's key for Pittsburgh because he has got a cannon. There are 2 other defensemen on Montreal, Manson and Brisebois, who have 12 shots each. They always look for Malakoff because of that big cannon, but Pittsburgh has spent so much time and attention staying in front of him, he's had to dish it off. They'll have to continue to do it again here tonight. Malakoff has been up the ice, he's played well offensively, and very solid inside his own zone.
A big player out for Kevin Constantine is Darius Kasparaitis. He was shaken up in game number 5 in the first period, never returned. The media was told it was the flu, but there have been other reports that he was suffering from some head problems, possibly a mild concussion going into Game 5. It may have aggravated that situation with some physical play early on. Here's a big hit by Alex Hicks, and Rob Brown got in there as well, but Ruzhinsky able to clear the zone. Stefan Quintal, who also did not rest in Game 5 because of a bad ankle, is back out there. Brian Savage is back in the lineup for Alain Vigneault. And with Kasparaitis out of there, it will be Thomas Gronman, who will be playing in his first ever Stanley Cup playoff game. And there's one other change up front, which we'll get to momentarily. As play goes back the other way, and Brunet flips it ahead as the whistle blew. It's very tough to hear as you take a look at Thomas Grama, number 42.
He is in the lineup tonight because Darius Kasparaitis got a blow to the head last game and has had a mild concussion. Watch him get pulled down from behind by Vinny Damphousse. Bang and whack. Watch his eyes and his head as he pops back up to the ice. Looks a little bit out of it there. He left that game very early on. The early reports were that he had the flu and was not feeling well coming into it. Well, that very well may be true, but there was also a report from one doctor from Pittsburgh saying that he did have a mild concussion, and we think that's where it happened.
Thomas Grama, just 24 years of age, out of Finland, where he played 1 year with Saku Koivu. Also played another season against him, so very familiar with each other. But Grama not familiar with Stanley Cup playoff action the way Koivu is, who at least has 12 games under his belt. As Jagr, hearing it from the Molson Center crowd, one hands it in behind Andy Moe. Popovich takes a bump there from Francis. Barnes is hit by Bureau. It's been a series of alternating wins and almost a series of alternating good efforts. Rarely have we seen both teams playing well and really going at each other, Brian.
The big story in this game is, are both A teams here tonight? We haven't really seen both A teams on the ice at the same time for more than probably one period at a time in each game.
Here is Jagr trying to get free, but Malakoff was right there. And now Mark Recchi, who started out without a point in the first 2 games of this series and has popped fire since then. Quintal sends it deep. Morasso, who shoots the puck very well, wristing it around the boards, but Recchi blocked it. Ian Moran was hit hard. Rob Brown is hit by Ulanov. So it looks like both teams have come out intending to play very physical.
They have to play physical to get themselves in the game. Rob Brown told me this morning the onus is on his line to come out and establish something physical. If he has to take a hit, fine, which he did on that last shift, but he's absolutely right. It's the second and third lines that have to come out and do something for Pittsburgh.
Quintal tried to clear it. He put it right up into his own bench. We've had a fast start in the first 3.5 minutes of Game 6. No score.
Ulanov has come out rocking here in this first period. He's the one who popped Rob Brown, catches him from behind. Rob did a good job of getting the puck out of the zone. You got to pay the price in a playoff game like this, especially when you're facing elimination.
There is Andreas Johansson, third-year pro, 24 years of age. Played 4 games with the Swedish team in the Olympics in Nagano, seeing his first ever Stanley Cup playoff action. He replaces Pronger, and he's out there on a line now with the veteran Eddie Olchuk and Tyler Wright. Kaner plays it ahead. Here's Johansson trying to get the puck to settle down. He actually put himself offside.
Shane Corson is one of the many Montreal Canadiens who have played well in this series so far. He establishes his game when he gets in and plays physical. 22 penalty minutes, that leads all players in this series so far. And where he's really been a thorn in Pittsburgh's side is right in Tommy Barrasso's kitchen. He gets right in the crease, he gets in behind him, and he starts buzzing around back there and banging into people. And there has been certain times, especially in games 2 and 3, where you can tell he's really unnerved Tommy Barrasso.
Malakoff plays it across for his partner Popovich, who clears the zone. Bureau has it. He'll send it deep into the Penguin zone. Morasso settling it down for Yuri Slager. Slager drops it back. Gromman picks it up. Gromman now a good skater, able to pull ahead. Backhand feed just out of the reach of Barnes as Popovich got to it. And the Canadian Salavsky wrapped up by Jagr. Penguins back on the attack. Pass intended for Jagr was knocked away. Even on the turnover, the Canadians were aware of number 68, and they got the stick in the passing lanes. Salavsky pokes it deep into the Pittsburgh zone. And the big line for the Penguins will go to the bench without getting a scoring chance on that shift.
A long shift to the big line there. Not unusual for Jaromir Jagr. He's fresh early on, obviously. He'll try to get Montreal to double shift and see who comes out against him, but he was out there a long time that time. Yuri Slager is a guy who has had a terrific series, kind of an up-and-down year for Yuri. He spent the season last year in Sweden after a contract dispute with Edmonton. He couldn't get it together. He said he really got his confidence back by playing in Sweden because of puck handling. He says, I can do now what I always wanted to do in the National Hockey League with the puck, even on this defensive-oriented team here in Pittsburgh. He's been very strong, up and down year, because at one point he was a healthy scratch a few times. Kevin Constantine got on his case. In the Olympics, on the gold medal winning Czech team, he was outstanding, and he played some great hockey inside his own zone. He has here, too.
His only prior Stanley Cup experience in 1993 as a member of the Vancouver Canucks. So Yuri Slager looking very comfortable, as you mentioned, in the playoffs this year in his role with Kevin Constantine's Pittsburgh Penguins. Recchi, Corson, and Koivu out there for Alain Vigneault. Flying Straka, Morozov. Here is Recchi. It deflects deep into the Pittsburgh zone. Hamer bumping there with Koivu. Corson will hold it in for the Canadiens. Sends it behind the Pittsburgh net. Koivu has it there. He is very tricky with the puck. Centering pass tipped away by Straka, who is in good position on Shane Corson. And Morozov will lift it into the Montreal zone. It comes to Koivu. He had an assist in the victory in Pittsburgh in Game 5. Here's Corson on the lead. Corson centering attempt, deflected off the stick of Tamers. Now Recchi being shoved along by Hatcher. Koivu's pass deflects up over the glass behind Morasso and out of play. Well, there will be at least one Game 7 of the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and we will have it on ESPN's National Hockey Night. It'll be the Edmonton Oilers, Doug Weight and company, doing the job in the last two games to force Peter Forsberg and the Avalanche to the limit. 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific tomorrow on ESPN's National Hockey Night.
Kevin Constantine is hoping that they will join the Game 7 crowd as well, too. Everything on the line, the whole season on the line here for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They have had a terrific season, come a long way. It's made a lot of changes throughout the course of play because of the lineup they have now as compared to the past years, but it's all for nothing. They dropped the ball here tonight.
Face off deep in the Pittsburgh zone, and the Penguins, for long stretches of this series, have absolutely dominated the face-off. Although Montreal turned the tide in Game 5, and it was a factor. Here is Barnes now. His shot to the net was blocked in front. Francis sets it back for Barnes. Puts it in deep looking for Jagr. Malakoff using his big body to shield the puck away from Jagr, and Popovich will start it back for Montreal. Zalapsky flips it ahead, but he put it over the head of his teammate Bureau.
Well, Zarley Zalapsky has been the designated man who lines up as a forward, but he's actually a defenseman. So he's been up, he's been back. Well, let's call him a dinger. Half defenseman, half forward, because that's the way he's played. He'll line up there up front, but he'll turn around and skate backwards in a lane, and that's the reason right there. Jaromir Jagr. He's been nose-to-nose with Jagr the entire series. I think that particularly in Game 1 and Game 5, Zarley Zalapsky was a big, big reason that Montreal was as successful as they have been so far.
You saw the numbers on Jaromir Jagr and Zarley Zalapsky having a conversation with one of the members of the Canadiens training staff. Here's a steal by Hicks. That play was offside. That's why Hicks didn't play it right away, but linesman blows it down on the far side.
Well, you can see that Pittsburgh has really tried to establish their cycling play down low early, as you mentioned, Dave. It's something they haven't been able to do. Even the big line, they would like to get in there and just move those Montreal defensemen around. Alex Hicks is really good at that. He's an experienced guy. He's a good forechecker. He'll lay on the body.
There's been talk about the Canadian defense, guys like Malakoff, guys like Dave Manson. If you can get some pressure on them, they have been prone at times in their careers to make mistakes. Malakoff is a guy that has been shown to be kind of fragile. If he makes a mistake in particular early in a game, he may not come back and play well. Dave Manson has had a remarkable turnaround to his career compared to his plus-minus numbers of the last three.
That's true. So anytime in a crucial situation, if you can get to the key players on the other team, you've obviously got a leg up, and that's what Pittsburgh's setting out to do here.
Recchi snaps it ahead. Corson deflects it in behind Morasso. Morasso around the glass. Recchi got a skate on it. Unable to control, though. Jagr clears. Yager is out there with Francis and Straka against Corson, Recchi, and Koivu. So we've got strength against strength offensively on this shift. And here is Recchi over the line. Hands it off to Koivu. Koivu, checked by Slager, puts it deep. Recchi is there. Malakoff behind the net now for Corson. Corson has Koivu with a chance. Deflected off the goalpost. And through the crease. A steal by Malakoff. Malakoff sends it across. The chance in front. Barrasso's down, but the Canadians cannot get control. Here is Koivu again. Hands it off to Recchi. Tried to give and go with Koivu, and it was broken up, and back comes Pittsburgh on a run. Here is Yager. Tried to feed Straka. It was broken up. Malakoff knocks it away. It's recovered by Damphousse. Malakoff around the boards, and it's all the way down the ice. This will be an icing call. Well, it was strength against strength, and the Koivu line won the battle, and Tom Barrasso had to be at his best to keep it scoreless.
This series about Montreal trying to get Tom Barrasso to move side to side. He usually comes out and challenges a long way. I think that's the reason why Malakoff passed that one down low. Tommy Barrasso won that guessing game, if you want to call it, because we've seen several times where Barrasso has come out to the top of the crease area and made big saves or have got caught hanging out there. So Malakoff was looking for him to challenge, try to throw it down to Recchi. They're unsuccessful that time.
Ulanov, lead pass just hopped over the stick of Damphousse, and there's Barrasso to hop out quickly. Plays it up the boards. Rob Brown gets a stick on it. It's recovered by Hicks. Ian Moran dumps it deep into the Canadian zone. Moe comes out. He sweeps it around the board. Savage had it knocked away by Hicks. Hicks a centering pass. Loose puck is swept away before Rob Brown could tee it up. Brzezinski rolls it back. Ulanov moves it along for Quintal. Flip pass into the Penguin zone. Olsen being pressured by Savage. Brzezinski gets to the loose puck behind the net. Damphousse tries to tuck it in. And Barrasso just holds his ground on the right post. Speaking of Tom Barrasso, Mark Recchi played with him. Now that he's playing against him, are they trying to get Tom Barrasso to move side to side?
We're trying to, but, you know, they play such a smart system defensively that they really keep you to the outsides for the most part, and it enables Tommy to really come out and challenge you and take away. I mean, he's a big guy as it is, and then he comes charging out at you, and there's not much net there. So, you know, you got to try and get around him. If you can make him move and get him moving, it opens him up, no question. So hopefully, you know, we get a couple chances like that tonight and open him up and try and sneak some by him.
We are going to be tracking the shots in the slot and out of the slot tonight. From the last game, here's what the numbers look like. All 5 goals were scored in the slot, but a lot of those were rebound chances. Montreal will definitely be pulling the trigger from out of that prime area, though, to see if they can get Tom Barrasso committed to the shooter and then push it off to the side.
Face off deep in the Pittsburgh zone. It's won cleanly by the Canadians as Brunet sends it back. Malakoff, a shot saved. Loose puck bounces up in the air. It is chopped down by Brunet, who sends it back in deep. Brunet, Bureau, and Stevenson out there now. Straka sends it across. Here is Yager, and a late whistle, at least in terms of us hearing it up here. And the playoff side.
It's been difficult for Jaromir Jagr to get any room in this series, especially at the Montreal blue line, especially the fact that there are 3 defensemen playing against them. On ice for 11 of the Penguins' 15 goals this series, second most in the playoffs. So has he got numbers? Absolutely. But again, I think it was in game 2, he said, I'm just not myself. I don't quite know why. Well, he's got to be himself. He's got to be good here tonight.
The only player in the 98 playoffs who's been on the ice for more of his team's goals is Peter Forsberg of Colorado, who's been on the ice for 13 of Colorado's 16 goals. And again, those are great numbers, but look at the predicament Colorado's in. Forsberg and his outstanding line mates, Lemieux and Kamensky, unable to get it done in the last 2 games. Straka could not get it by Brisebois. Sends it deep, Turner Stevenson. Jonas Hoagland in there now for the Canadians. Here's Stevenson, a wraparound. That was stopped by Barrasso, and he covers up, getting the whistle from Bill McCreary.
Good effort there by Turner Stevenson. He just wins the fight against Kevin Hatcher and got a really good wraparound chance. Stevenson 23 white against 4 black. comes out with the quick stuff and then still doesn't give up. I think Hatcher was expecting a little bit quicker whistle there. Stevenson still got one more whack at it. Turner Stevenson has been strong in this series as well.
Just 25 years of age out of Prince George, British Columbia. For the Canadians, when you start looking at Savage getting back into the lineup, Thornton back into the lineup, Koivu in the lineup, you look at the balance now that the Canadians, Brian, have. Two very solid scoring lines that don't hurt you defensively. Then you can come with a tough line with Thornton in the middle with his size, and the checking line with Bureau.
Yeah, even a couple of the Pittsburgh Penguins players said that they felt that Montreal probably has more balanced scoring than they do. And Stevenson gives them that punch on the third and fourth line. He's even spent some time on the first and second line because of injuries earlier in this series.
Manson moves in from the right point. Well-timed pinch there by the Montreal defenseman. Now Recchi with Koivu and Corson trying to cause havoc in the Pittsburgh zone. Corson gets to the loose puck, in deep for Koivu. Koivu battling against Barnes. They're about the same size in stature. Recchi helping out. Koivu's wraparound on the backhand hit the side of the net. Here is Recchi with it. Carries out near the blue line. Backhands it for Koivu. Koivu off the boards for Corson. Warenka trying to tie up Corson, pulls him down. McCurry looked right at him, shook his head no. Bill McCurry not going to bite on that one. We've not had a penalty yet, and we've played nearly half this first period. Down Foose, he's been outstanding. Unable to break free from the Pittsburgh defense. It's off the stick of Rob Brown into the Montreal zone.
Vinny Danfus came off the bench fresh, tried to drive to the net. He wasn't successful that time, but that's one of the things that Danfus has done very well in this series. Use that size and drive to the net.
Icing call on the touch-up by Gronman.
I really like the tempo in this game so far. By far and away the best tempo that we've seen since the drop of the puck. Dave, you pointed out earlier on that this has been a real seesaw series. One team usually comes out a little flat, the other one takes advantage, it goes back the other way. But at least for right now, both of these teams have come out hitting, trying to establish their tempo and get some rhythm going. And now with the big line out for the Pittsburgh Penguins, they would like to try and get some cycling down too. They're trying to change up that first line a little bit. Straka has already had 2 or 3 shifts out there with Francis and Jagr. So Stu Barnes might be seen on a different line from time to time as well.
Francis wins the faceoff cleanly. Gronman with a drive. That deflects in front of Moog. Jagr almost got a stick on it. Here is Straka with it. He sends it across Gronman and moved in for the left point. Behind the net, Jagr. Malakoff is right there to play it along the boards. Stevenson tried to chip it out of there. Slager held it in. Great play to Straka. His shot, though, is blocked by Popovich.
Nice play by Popovich there, deflecting that one up and over. Malakoff did a terrific job against Jagr on the last shift, down low in front of Andy Moog. It'd be number 38 white against 68 black. Off to the side there, left part of your screen. That's great coverage. Inside body position, no chance for Jagr's stick to get anywhere near that puck. There was a rebound there. That's as good as it gets, folks.
I should note that's the second shift in a row against the Jagr line that it's been Stevenson out there in place of Zalapsky. We saw Zalapsky talking to one of the members of the training staff. We don't know whether he had some kind of an equipment problem or perhaps an injury. No word yet, but we'll keep an eye on that because of the importance that Zalapsky has played.
So then Malakoff will have to pay even that much more attention down inside the zone because normally it's been Zalapsky that's been following him around inside the Montreal blue line.
Now you got Francis, Jagr, and Straka against the Danfus, Ruzhinsky and Savage line. Here's Ruzhinsky, who had the first goal of this series. Savage couldn't control. Straka could not clear the first time. Yuri Slager chases it down, loses it. Here's Danfus, centering pass tipped away by Francis. The veteran Ron Francis, always so aware of where he is and where the puck is in the defensive zone. Savage taking it deep with speed. Good poke check by Slager. Now Jagr checked on the play by Danfus. And a quick whistle again from Bill McCreary.
Brian Savage back in the lineup for the Montreal Canadiens. He's an important player for them. If you look up streaky in the dictionary, his picture's there. He finished off the season really well. He had 3 goals in his last 2 games. Has struggled in this series. Did not play last game. He had a minor concussion. But to have him back out there on that second line along with Ruzhinsky and Danfus gives them the chance to have that chemistry they need in this game to finish this series off.
So the Danfus line, as you see, taking a rest. Brian Savage. Over on the Montreal bench now as Thornton comes out between Recchi and Corson. So Alain Vigneault changing things up a bit here. Robert Lang won that faceoff. Backhanded center ice. Jumping up is Olchuk. He springs Lang into the clear. Lang with a chance and a good recovery by Brisebois. They get a stick on that shot attempt. Corson able to bounce it out to center ice.
Big play by Montreal there. They recovered well at the last minute. Crisscrosses the center ice area. Got them all crossed up, and Robert Lang just took too long to shoot.
Pass intended for Olchuk was knocked away. Recchi plays it in deep. Thornton is in there, bumping on Olesen. Corson digs it out of there for the Canadians. Recchi at the hash marks, comes off the wall with it. Tried to bank it to a teammate and hit the skates of the referee, McCreary. That drew the reaction from the Montreal fans. Dave Manson from behind his own net. Leaves it for a streaking Vinny Danfus, trying to get some speed going. Penguins will have none of that in the neutral zone. Danfus will snap it across Ulanov. Leaves it there. Here comes Grushinski. Danfus, quick touch pass for Savage. Danfus gets it back. Danfus takes it deep. Now Grushinski picks it up. Penalty coming against the Penguins. It's going to be Ian Moran. It's going to get the first penalty of the hockey game. They get Moog to the bench for the extra attacker, but we get a whistle now. So we played 12 and a half minutes without a penalty. But Ian Moran going to the box for this. It'll be a power play Canadiens when we come back.
Crisscrosses are the most difficult plays for defensemen to read. Manson and Brisebois get crossed up here. Great crisscross by Pittsburgh. Look at Brisebois come across, though. Lang takes way too long to pull the trigger. Excellent play by Patrice Brisebois to get a stick on that just at the last minute. And there's Ian Moran in the penalty box for the holding call we saw just a moment ago.
The Montreal Canadiens power play had scored one goal in each of the first 4 games of this series. 0 for 3 in Game 5 as you look at what they've done in Games 4 and 5 compared to the first 3. Danfus to take the draw against Stu Barnes, deep in the Pittsburgh zone. Recchi being challenged by Barnes, puts it up on the glass. Good job by Danfus to get a glove on it. Now Corson. Pittsburgh digs it free and Barnes drives it down the ice. Brisebois starts it back now for the Canadiens. Had the first goal of Game 5. Didn't come until the second period. And what have we got? An icing call here against the Canadiens.
Well, Montreal's got one of the best power play men in the National Hockey League this year in their lineup. 14 of his 21 goals on the power play this year. 1 for 3 in this series. And Shane Corson would have had more power play goals and more goals in general. I'm sure he would have gone over the 30 mark. He missed 20 games because of injuries. Abdominals and groin problems have plagued him actually the last couple of years. Corson had a terrific first half. Made the Canadian Olympic team and certainly deserved to. Those injuries dragged him down a little bit in the second, but he's a key man on the power play. Although points-wise in this playoff so far, Vinny Danfus has been the best setup man and best producer.
Of course, this is Corson's second stint with the Montreal Canadiens. Started his career with Montreal when he was drafted in the first round back in 1984. And then made a couple of other stops before coming back here to Montreal from St. Louis. Malakoff drives it back behind Barrasso. Decided against trying to play it with the goal stick. It is slapped around the boards by Hatcher and down the ice. See the time remaining. And the minor penalty to Ian Moran of the Penguins. Recchi steps over center ice. Into the Pittsburgh zone. Plays it off the end boards. Corson waiting for it. Hands it off. Danfus to Recchi. Recchi again looking in front. Corson and stick on the ice, but they couldn't get it to him. And a good diving play made shorthanded on the far side by Eddie Olchuk.
Some bad luck there for Montreal. They finally got the puck in down low and got it established and under control. A simple little pass from Recchi to Danfus. It hit something in the ice, bounced over a stick, ends up into an innocent turnover. Pittsburgh's done a nice job of really rushing Montreal while they're still killing off this penalty.
Barrasso plays it around the boards. Ulanov waiting for the Canadians, but Lang able to clear it. And we're down to just 20 seconds remaining in this first power play opportunity for either team in Game 6. Brzezinski challenged by Tamer. Now Slager for Pittsburgh takes over. Could not get it by Manson. Manson put it along the boards. It was up in the air. Brian Savage looked like he was going to call a fair catch. And back the other way, Pittsburgh, as Ian Moran steps out of the box.
I don't think there's anything that frustrates this crowd here in Montreal more than a power play that doesn't work. So if Pittsburgh can continue to kill penalties like they just did, it'll put a lot of pressure on the Canadians.
Euro from 65 feet. Barrasso handles that easily. Yager now, who hears it from this Montreal crowd every time he touches the puck. Olsen drives it in on Moog. He steers it aside. Bouncing puck up to Larenka. His shot hits Stu Barnes in the back. In front! And sent just wide by Yager, who got a backhand away. Now it's picked up by Brunet. And what have we got behind the play? It looks like an interference call against the Montreal Canadiens. So Pittsburgh, doing the job on the road to keep the crowd out of it, has a power play.
Last shift for Jaromir Jagr. He was right on the doorstep. The puck will jump down. Andy Moog goes down. The rebound comes out. It's rolling a little bit. Jagr didn't have much room, but he did have a little. And there's the penalty was called on Turner Stevenson as he brought down Ronnie Francis. So Pittsburgh on the power play.
Interference the call. Just the second penalty called by Bill McCreary here in this game. And good job by the Canadians to win the draw. To take a look at the power play numbers for the Penguins, I mean, they did a great job here in Game 4, 3 for 9, but the rest of the series just 1 for 18. Here is Barnes trying to go in front to Yager. It comes down to Olsen straight away. Yager in deep, sends it across, deflected, and it hopped over the stick of Kevin Hatcher. Hatcher again now. Carries into the Montreal zone. Hatcher makes the move on Popovich. Backhand shot and a save by Moog.
Pittsburgh needs good work out of Kevin Hatcher. That was a piece of great work. The range, the size, the ability to handle the puck. Watch him work Peter Popovich. Gets him hanging one way, dead in the water. Hatcher gets a kind of a shovel shot on the backhand towards Andy Moog, and Andy uses that big glove.
It's going to be hard for anybody to beat the goal that Sergei Samsonov scored for Boston this afternoon, the move he made on Phil Housen.
Oh, yeah, that was a beauty. Unfortunately in vain, though. And we congratulate the Washington Capitals as they move on.
Kevin Hatcher wearing a playoff look with that eye that's not nearly as bad as it looks. Here's a steal by Brisebois, and he sends it down the ice. And, of course, also congratulations to Buffalo for their earlier win over Philadelphia. Ottawa will be upset home of the Devils. And, of course, Dallas, Detroit, and St. Louis have moved down in the West. And the fourth team in the West will be determined by Game 7 tomorrow night in Colorado. Yager knocked away by Brunet. He could not handle it cleanly, or he would have broken in for a great scoring chance. Here comes Yager now. 3-on-2 in the Montreal zone. Yager surveys, now snaps the shot. Hit the leg of the defenseman Brisebois, and the Canadians clear.
Montreal was lucky that Yager did hit Brisebois in the leg because he was in past the tops of the circle. Definitely scoring range. He just missed his shot.
Kevin Constantine getting the second power play unit out on the ice. Slager and Warenka are back on the points. Olchuk, Lang, Rob Brown up front. Here is Lang. Nearly deflected over to Rob Brown, but it's picked off by Mark Recchi, and Recchi for the Canadians clears it all the way back. Pops over the stick of Slager. Recchi tried to feed it out front. Olchuk stepped right into him. Penguins come up with it, but Stevenson steps out of the box. And Stevenson immediately runs across to find somebody in a black jersey to hit. And he picked on Yuri Slager. Popovich is checked by Olchuk. Here's a steal by Rob Brown. Now Strackle with it. Rob Brown puts it right through the goal mouth. It comes to Olesen at the right point. He snaps it toward the net. The stop made by Moog, and he hangs on. Well, Bill McCreary looks like he's going to call something here. I don't know if he's picking out one player or if there's going to be coincidental minors, but it looks like just a Montreal player skating over, so it will be another Pittsburgh power play as we take a look at our Molson Ice league leader's points in every game played in the playoffs, Sergei Fedorov. What a strange goal he scored to keep his streak alive, but we got two of the players on that list in our game tonight. Of course, Jaromir Jagr with the Penguins and Vincent Damphousse. What a goal he scored in Game 5.
He is the best combination of size and talent that the Montreal Canadiens have. Now, they certainly have other talented guys like a Saku Koivu, Mark Recchi, but obviously those two guys don't have the size that this man does. And when he comes to play, there are very few better than him or equal to him, for that matter, in the National Hockey League. And there's Vladimir Malakoff cross-checking, the only one with a penalty on that last play. Pittsburgh back on the power play.
So not only short-handed, but missing a defenseman that they use in a lot of different situations with Malakoff now in the box. Stu Barnes back out there now with Francis and Jagr, and Barnes to take the face-off against Damphousse. Good job by Jagr. Gets it back now to Olesen. Cross ice for Hatcher. Olesen gets it to Jagr. Jagr sends it deep. Goal mouth pass was blocked. The Montreal defender Zalapsky was down, and Charlie Zalapsky is back. That is good to see for the Montreal Canadiens.
Pittsburgh uses the goal mouth pass, especially on the power play, more than any other team in the league, and they tried it there.
Canadians fail to clear. A chance here for Jagr. Rolls it across. Hatcher will collect top of the circle. Sends it in deep. Breezeball for the Canadiens. Wraps it around, but not out. Olesen plays it off the boards for Stu Barnes. Now Jagr with it. Goes to Francis. Hands off. Hatcher is right. Right pass saved by Moog. And the Canadiens bounce it to the line, but not out. Olesen goes to Francis in front. Jagr a chance, and that was blocked by the defenseman who does not have a stick. Ulanov made the glove save. Here is Hatcher. They send it across. Olesen, tough angle drive. He missed the net. And you missed the net from that angle, and that usually means the puck's going out of the zone.
Pittsburgh never got anything going on their first power play. Well, they've got it going here now. They're moving the puck very well, and they're getting some shots on net. Montreal on the run here, penalty killing.
Boy, Jagr took a slash there from Ulanov and shook it off to keep the play going. In front, Moog has it in the glove.
Andy Moog looks so cool and calm. The way he makes the saves, I think, settles his team down. You need that when you're in a situation that Montreal is in right now. Pittsburgh did a great job of moving the puck around and whistling the puck at Andy Moog. Andy Moog even got help at times from some of the guys in front of him. The last save, Moog went down and scooped that one almost right off the ice. And Andy getting the appreciation from the fans here. Ulanov actually made a goaltender-like save on his last shift out there. Was terrific.
We've got a minute 15 left in the period. We invite you to stay with us here on The Deuce as we'll have the new Dodge Intermission Report. ESPN News Network will take over and bring all the highlights from overtime in Boston. And the defending Stanley Cup champions, they were in a war with the Coyotes in the first round, but they'll move on. And I'm sure you'll see that strange goal that Sergei Fedorov scored on the wraparound.
That was wild, wasn't it? I've never seen one quite like that.
Face-off won by Olchuk. Slager, quick drive. Bounces in on Moog, and he has it covered up.
Eddie Olchuk playing on the third and fourth lines throughout this series. Had a tough game last game. 11th career playoff game with Pittsburgh. And he scores, and when he doesn't score. Kind of a tough game for Eddie, though. He was -4 in the last game, and some of that certainly wasn't all his fault. Sometimes you just have nights like that.
Olchuk will take this face-off. And again, a good job back at the point. Slager winds up, doesn't shoot it. Didn't have a clear path to the net with it. Still a half a minute left. Slager shot deflected in front and sent just wide. Olchuk was the man. He's got a jab at it. Here is Robert Lang behind the Montreal net. Lang being muscled to the boards and then muscled to the ice by Manson. That puck is along the boards, and McCreary going as long as he can.
Robert Lang gets 2 points for a takedown there. A little wrestling going on. with Lang and Dave Manson, I believe, at the bottom. I don't know if they'll just call this a draw and drop the puck, or whether Bill McCreary will get in here and let them sit out for a couple of minutes. Here's Lang and Manson, how it starts. Manson pins him, and they roll around for a couple of minutes.
You can see the puck there was exposed for a moment. That's what Bill McCreary was watching to see if that puck should have been kept in play.
Robert Lang and his second-line teammates have got to get some production going. They've had some really good games in this series, some so-so games, but bottom line is Pittsburgh needs production tonight.
Well, it looks like tonight everybody, second, third, fourth lines on both sides, are more involved in this game physically and emotionally than we've seen at any other stretch in this series.
The systems aren't going to win this game. It's going to be energy and emotion that's going to do it.
Down to 18 seconds left in the Malakoff penalty. Here is Jagr getting to the loose puck. He hands it off. Straka tried to center, hit the back of the net. Straka follows it along. Now here's Olofsson sending it deep for Jagr. Cross-ice pass intercepted, and it's cleared by Brunet.
Olofsson and Hatcher play on the point on the power play. They're both right-hand shots, so Hatcher's the only one who can set up for the one-timer back there. Montreal usually shades towards him because of that.
Here comes Jagr now. He tried to put it in front, hit the skate of Recchi. Straka using his quickness to get to that puck. Francis. Oh, look at the strength. He puts it out in front off the arm of Brisebois, but he recovers now. And Brisebois sends it out to center ice as the final seconds of this first period, game 6, tick off the clock. Jaromir Jagr had some chances, but after 20 minutes of play, down boost of the Canadiens, Jagr and the Penguins are scoreless. ESPN News is next. If they can win this series.
And there's certainly nothing different about Popovich and Malakoff being out against Jagr. One of the things that was different, of course, is that Zarley Zalapsky was not in that mix. He was at the very beginning, then left, didn't come back, and we have not received any word exactly what was wrong. But throughout this series, Jaromir Jagr has actually been wearing 3 defensemen almost every shift. He didn't have to do that for very long in the first period here.
We talked about up and down for both teams, and Jaromir Jagr's line no exception. I mean, they have had some production in all the games, but when you look at the difference in the numbers of Jaromir Jagr in the games that they have won and the 3 games they have lost, there is a huge difference. Here is Jagr taken to the boards by Malakoff. Jagr able to dig it out of the corner, sends it back to the line, and Gromman has to regroup back at center ice as we start the second period. Lead pass for Francis. Picked off by Malakoff. He'll send it out to center ice, right in front of the Pittsburgh bench. And Mark Bureau backhands it deep into the Penguin zone. It's picked up there by Gromman now. Both teams looking to make some changes. Crowd reacting to a big hit by Turner Stevenson behind the play.
Well, we talked about the defensemen playing against the Jagr line. Brunet and Bureau have been out against the big line for 7 out of 8 shifts as well in that first, and I'm sure they'd like to keep that matchup as much as possible as well.
Corson trying to get it to Koivu, but it's cleared around the boards by Ian Moran, and Jagr heading to the bench. Just lets that puck sail by him. Manson redirects it to Corson. Recchi heading for the net with the backhand. Save made by Barrasso. And a penalty away from the play, and this is not a bad penalty because had Wawrinka Brian not taken Saku Koivu down, he probably had an open net to get it by Tom Barrasso.
You're absolutely right, and Pittsburgh was crossed up because they had a bad line change. Again, second period, you're farthest away from your own bench. Montreal is the first one to take advantage of the situation. Montreal moved the puck very quickly to the far side, farthest away from the Pittsburgh bench. You can't see in the frame very well, but as they move it to the far side, they're in attack. Those Pittsburgh players have to come back in from a very long ways away. They did recover and were able to clear it. But there's Recchi, the quick shovel on the backhand, and the great scorers always know where the net is. He wasn't far off that far corner.
Wawrinka off for interference at 1:05, and so the Montreal Canadiens will have their second power play opportunity. And down below as Jaromir Jagr is going to the dressing room. Now that is equipment manager Steve Lattin that is going with him, and Jagr certainly seems to be walking all right under his own power. So we have to assume that it's a skate or some other type of equipment problem. And we will pass along word on that certainly as soon as we know.
He didn't look as if he got shaken up unusually in that first shift, but we'll wait and see upon his return.
Canadians without a shot on goal the first time they had the man advantage. No score in Game 6. Canadians trying to end the series. Penguins trying to force a Game 7 in Pittsburgh on Tuesday night that we would have for you on ESPN's National Hockey Night. As the Penguins able to clear here, Andy Moog settles it down and Malakoff comes back to get it. Malakoff, did he get to the center ice red line? I don't believe so. This is going to be icing. I don't think Barrasso realized it. He may be lucky that puck hopped over his goal stick.
Little mental mistake there by Vladimir Malakoff. He didn't quite get to the center red line. He gets nailed for it. Little things like that can make the difference, but it is a power play and not a critical situation. You certainly don't want to give the other team free face-offs in your own end by your own doing when you're on the power play. We do not see Bizarrely Zalapski on the bench for Montreal, so he has shaken himself up, obviously, in that first period. We waited to see if he came out for this second. He is nowhere to be found yet, so that will change the three defenseman system. He, along with Popovich and Malakoff, has been out there against the Yager line, so Montreal has to make changes.
Here is Malakoff with it. He'll carry to center ice and drive it up the glass behind Barrasso. It is tipped by Tamer, but controlled now by the Canadians down Foots. Backhands it now Corson along the boards for Recchi. Quickly back for Corson. Brisebois, cross ice Malakoff, back for Brisebois. Hands it off down Foots. Down Foots, straight away. Brisebois drive, save Barrasso, rebound there, but it's Tamer for the Penguins able to clear.
Montreal have a left-handed right-hand shot out there on defense. Brisebois the right-hander, Malakoff the left-hander, but they're not reversed for the one-timers like most teams do.
And a quick count on that Montreal bench. I only count 13, including the spare goaltender. There with the 6 Canadians on the ice. That makes 19, so one is missing. Here is Koivu, centering pass. Oh, and Corson just missed that pass, and the puck cleared by the Penguins.
That must have jumped over his stick or something. From here, it's hard to tell how he missed that. That was a terrific centering pass by Saku Koivu right on the doorstep, and Corson had a slam dunk there, but didn't hit the puck.
Manson drives it from center ice. It thumps off that right pad of Barrasso, and he'll hang on.
Saku Koivu came back into the lineup and really, really energized the Montreal Canadiens last game. That left hand, the bottom hand on his stick, is one or two of the small bones on the back of the hand right below the knuckle of the middle finger. And we'll be keeping an eye to see if any of the Pittsburgh Penguins take a few whacks at it. Here's his last shift. As he moved out in front, he knows Shane Corson is going to the front. And it maybe changed direction at the last second off a skate.
Yeah.
But Corson was right there for the slam dunk. Koivu is so good with Recchi, and I think that Recchi had a big night the other night. You could see the sigh of relief almost on Recchi's face in Game 5 right off the bat. And Saku Koivu, no matter who he plays with, is going to create an awful lot of chances.
23 seconds left in the penalty to Wawrinka, who already has scored a shorthanded goal in this series coming out of the penalty box. That happened in Pittsburgh. Here comes Manson. Manson sends it ahead now for Quintal. Quintal backhands it behind Barrasso. It is picked off by Olesen. Failed to clear it, though. Now it comes to Savage at the hash mark. There's Wawrinka out of the box. Quintal with a chance. That was blocked. Wawrinka loose at center ice, racing after it. Manson is chasing him. Here's Wawrinka trying to go to the forehand, but he's taken down. And what's the call going to be? Let's see. Will it be a penalty or a penalty shot? It will be a tripping call.
And fortunately for the Montreal Canadiens, Andy Moog was able to get out of the way too so that it didn't hurt his leg. Yager returns. That's a good sign for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's got to get some momentum going here. Power play deep inside the Pittsburgh zone. Brad Wawrinka will come out of the penalty box. You see him at the top of the screen. A good clearing pass. Wawrinka away to the races. Montreal recovers a diving Manson. And Andy Moog had to do the hurdles there. And Wawrinka, fortunately for Pittsburgh, is okay on the play as well.
It comes out of Olesen. Power play for the Penguins. Their third of the hockey game. Tripping call against Manson. Here is Yager walking out of the corner. Tries to stuff it in. Moog the save, and he hangs on.
That's a good play there by Jaromir Jagr. I don't think Pittsburgh has done enough of that, especially in the last 2 or 3 games. If there's not a play in the middle of the ice on their power play, just walk the goal line. Take it to the net from anywhere. Here's the Brad Wawrinka play again. He comes hurtling in. Look at nice job by Andy to get out of the way there. And nice ride there for Brad Wawrinka.
They probably told Wawrinka to go 5-hole on Andy, but Brad, we mean the puck. You know, you go through there, and we don't get any credit for that. It looks great on the goal cam.
Brad Wawrinka already has a short-handed goal because Montreal forgot about it. Montreal was at a 5-on-3 situation. Wawrinka came out and make it 5-on-4, got a breakaway and scored.
Hatcher pressured out to center ice by Brunet. Here is Stu Barnes as the Penguins have to regroup in the neutral zone. Comes to Francis. Tries to hand it off for Barnes. Bouncing puck, Popovich. And Brunet able to clear. Olsen sends it ahead now, and Hatcher had that great chance in the first period. Sends it across for Jagr. Jagr one-times it to the net. Net deflected, I believe, off the stick of Malakoff and went just wide. Now Jagr in the corner. Here's it again from the Molson Center crowd as Corson pins him up. Francis, good job to dig it back to Olsen. Winds up, fakes the shot. Here is Francis with it. Francis sends it in deep. Barnes back to Francis. He has already cut for the net. Olsen, though, good job to hold it in. Here is Francis, tries to walk out in front. It slid into the crease, and Andy Moog drops the goal stick. A la Dominik Hasek and covers up.
Pittsburgh could have been just a little bit sharper here in the early stages of this power play. They had Shane Corson down deep in the corner, pinning Jagr against the wall. What's wrong with that is Corson is a forward, and therefore that means no forward is out on their defenseman. Pittsburgh got the puck back out to Olsen on the point, and Olsen was just too slow to get anything done with it. There's a look at Brad Wawrinka, who had that great chance and drew the penalty. His speed coming out of the penalty box. First career playoff goal. Brad Wawrinka was the top defenseman in the International League last year playing for Indianapolis. Scored 20 times, so he knows what to do with it. And the goal he did score in this series was a beauty.
Here was the play out of the box, and what a goal scorer's move that looked like from Brad Wawrinka.
Yeah, it was a weird sequence because Montreal had a 5-on-3 advantage. Wawrinka came out of the penalty box first, so Pittsburgh's still down by one man, but he comes looping through the neutral zone, eerily reminiscent of what we just saw. Gets a great pass from Slager, goes in all alone, and scores the goal.
Well, Pittsburgh goes from two right-hand shots, Hatcher and Olsen on the points, now to Wawrinka and Slager, a couple of left-hand shots.
But they don't like to change them up. They've been doing this pretty much the whole series.
It comes to Wawrinka straight away, hands it off to Jagr. Jagr at the hash mark. Looks in front, Ulanov alertly knocked to the side. Here's Jagr again. Still half a minute left on this power play. Slager top of the circle, tees it up. Perfectly timed block there by Ruzhinsky.
Pittsburgh's looking for the backdoor play more than anything else on their power play. They get Jagr over there on the side. He tries to get everybody's attention, and either Hatcher or in this case Slager, who's out there now, will try to slip down the back door unnoticed for the jam.
Olchuk knocks it free, but it's the Canadians who come up with it, and Ruzhinsky able to clear.
The only problem with that is if you constantly do it, and Montreal's not stupid, they're not going to allow those passes through the box. You start turning the puck over way too often if you're Pittsburgh, if you're just constantly looking for that one play.
Wawrinka now from center ice, lifting it deep into the Montreal zone. Ulanov plays it around the boards. It is held in. Stick to the corner by Ian Morin. But the Canadians will get to it and clear it out to center ice. Stevenson got a stick on it. Kamer recovers. Big hit by Ulanov on Ian Morin, and the Molson Center crowd comes to life with that. Puck is fired in by Jonas Höglund. Höglund and Thornton have not seen a lot of ice time. They're out there with Stevenson. It's batted aside by Barrasso. Penguins battle to get it to center ice. And they finally do, but not under control. Quintal sends it back. Thornton drives it deep into the Pittsburgh end.
Good tempo and speed still in this game. It continues in the second period. It was established right from the first shift of the game.
Koivu was lurking out in front of Barrasso momentarily unchecked, but the Canadians couldn't get it to him, and it's sent all the way down the ice. Well, this is a battle of a number 7 seed versus a number 2, although a lot of people wouldn't consider it an upset if Montreal does take this series. But our question for you tonight on our Sports Zone, what has been the biggest playoff upset over the last 5 years. They started the current format in 94, and right off the bat, you had an 8-seed San Jose upset heavily favored #1 seed Detroit. You also had an 8 meeting of 1 with the Rangers defeating Quebec in 95. Edmonton, Dallas last year, of course, a first-round upset. And Ottawa, New Jersey this year. Hop on the internet. Give us your vote.
And his last shift, Igor Ulanov dished out one of his big checks. He's probably the most likely guy of the Montreal Canadiens to do so. Certainly their blue liner. And when he gets a chance to rub somebody out and rub their face in it a little bit, Igor will do that whenever he can.
Ulanov and the Canadiens finished with 87 points. 11 points behind the Pittsburgh Penguins in the Northeast Division.
And when he joined the team this year, he, of course, tore his knee up in the very first shift that he had. And there were doubts that he was going to be back at all this season. And boy, was he a welcome addition when he did come back.
Face-off deep in the Penguins zone. It's controlled by Barnes. It's hammered off the board by Slager. Racing after it is Jagr. Moog out of the net to steer it up the boards. Popovich.
That was a bit of an automatic play there, Dave. They had Jagr fly in the zone and a shot off the wall, and it caught Malakoff just for a second, but the pass wasn't on target, so Jagr wasn't able to do anything with it. We'll keep our eyes on that.
Here is Corson now. Backhand pass doesn't connect with Bernay. Slager slides it ahead. Malakoff, little trouble with the puck. Now some trouble with Francis, who got away with a bit of a tug on the shoulder. Here is Jagr with it, circling to go, put it out in front. Slides all the way to the left point. Slager's shot was blocked by Corson, who then shoves Slager down and creates a 2-on-1. And just out of the reach of Bureau, who will chase it down. But the 2-on-1 goes by the board. Here is Francis. Hands it off now to Barnes. Barnes makes a move to get away from Manson. Backhands it across. It was knocked away by Brisebois. Wawrinka dumped it behind the Montreal goal. Moog swung the goal stick but missed the puck. It goes back in deep. Brisebois is there. And Patrice Brisebois hands it off now to Benoit Bernay. Bernay to center ice. Flips it ahead. It's off the glove of Hatcher. Barrasso settles it down. Wawrinka checked by Recchi. Robert Lang is there. 8 minutes gone by here in the second period of Game 6, Eastern Conference quarterfinals. Canadiens lead the series 3-2, and this Game 6 is scoreless as Lang from a tough angle puts it off the side of the net. Batted out of the air with a high stick by the Canadiens, and as Montreal touches it, we will have a whistle. Barrasso's been perfect so far, so is Andy Moog.
Excellent block, but he paid the price. And he obviously paid it right on the back of his hand. So they had to put a little ice on it. They're already suffering from one of their star players, Saku Koivu, who missed the first 4 games of the series because of a broken bone in the hand. They certainly don't need another one.
Brisebois trying to tie Martin Straka up, who's looking to keep the feet going. Morozov tries to sweep it in front. Here is Straka again. Straka, Morozov, and Lang coming in for the point. Wawrinka just missed as he dove for the puck. And back the other way now, Recchi. 4 Penguins are back. Recchi and Koivu. Now Lang around the boards. Recchi with a steal. Sends it behind the net for Koivu. Olsen trying to wrap him up. Now Koivu comes off the boards with it. Manson at the point, sends it back in deep. Wawrinka, a huge hit there as he stepped into Shane Corson. Corson coming back, but he's looking to play the puck. He's not looking for any revenge. At this stage, Corson starts to go down, still tries to play the puck. Lang knocks it away. Recchi there for the Canadiens. Now Koivu. Corson has it knocked away. Koivu trying to break free from Olsen. Lots of time of possession in the Pittsburgh zone, but the Penguins keeping them to the outside. Here is Recchi with it now. They try to get some movement going. Koivu lets it go. It's picked up by Corson. Wawrinka has lost his stick. Koivu with a chance and a save. Rebound score! Recchi on the rebound!
Good things always seem to happen out of sustained pressure in the offensive zone, and goodness knows this line had sustained pressure. This is the ultimate finish to it. Too many Pittsburgh players standing around watching the puck being shot by Saku Koivu, then watch 8 White come in right in between all of them, pick up the rebound and blow it right by Tommy Barrasso, who didn't get any help there. There's Saku Koivu on the ISO. He's the one with the bad hand. They're feeling fine right now.
Well, they just mentioned that with all that time of possession, Pittsburgh had kept them on the perimeter, but once Wawrinka lost his stick, they got running around a bit. And boy, as you mentioned, good things happen when you can keep it going.
Cycling always seems to lead to so many goals. If nothing else, the worst thing you get out of it is momentum. That ain't half bad.
Big hit on Barnes by Bureau. Here comes Malakoff, and what have we got? Barnes is down.
Bureau just rocked Stu Barnes, and Barnes, I think, his head hit on the edge of the boards or the glass. He got hit from behind. There will be a penalty to Mark Bureau. To what extent or degree, how many minutes that is, we're not quite sure. Bureau is really upset. He probably feels like Barnes turned his back to him. That's usually the way the players feel when they get nailed for penalties like this. Oh, man. He just punished Stu Barnes into the boards right in front of the penalty box. So Pittsburgh will go on the power play. Stu Barnes up and moving around. 14 Black has his back turned. Does see him coming.
Yeah, and the puck was there.
And I'd like to see what the call is on this.
It is boarding. It's a 2-minute boarding penalty.
What happens on those hits, of course, is you get hit twice. Once by the player and once by the boards. Most of the time it's the boards that does most of the action. I can see why Bureau is upset, but the league wants to make the players aware that players that they hit are susceptible at times. And I think that that's what the penalty is all about here. Referee Bill McCreary letting Montreal know, perhaps letting Mark Bureau know that that guy was in danger there. You finished him off pretty hard, and he dished out 2 minutes.
ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball resumes this week with an American League doubleheader. 7:30 Eastern, Paul Molitor and the Minnesota Twins travel to historic Fenway Park to take on the red-hot Boston Red Sox and their potent offense, featuring Mo Vaughn. And on the nightcap, Frank Thomas, Albert Bell, and the Chicago White Sox go head-to-head with Ken Griffey Jr., Edgar Martinez, and the Seattle Mariners. It all happens this week on ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball.
We have just received word that Zarley Zalapski, whom we've mentioned a few times, went out in the first period early on, has a wrenched knee, and will not return. So, again, a man who's been up against the Jaromir Jagr an awful lot as the third defenseman. They are not able to do that, certainly with Zalapski in this game, and have seemed to go with just the 2 defensemen, Popovich and Malakoff, against them, and they get help with a forward, more like a left-wing lock system.
Well, we're halfway through the second period, Brian. It's a 1-0 lead for the Canadians. Penguins did a good job keeping the home crowd out of it for the first period, keeping Montreal off the board, but a huge power play opportunity for Pittsburgh if they would like to get right back into this, and obviously if the Canadians can kill it off, they'll keep the momentum going.
And they have to be very careful here, because Marty Wyshynski in particular, who has killed penalties very effectively all year, is extremely dangerous shorthanded.
Here is Jagr with a chance at picking out the left skate is Moog to make the save, and it's cleared just out of the reach of Wyshynski.
One of the better scoring chances Jagr's had in this game. He was able to come outside into the middle on the off-wing side, right-wing side, left-hand shot. He smoked that one from good scoring position.
Barnes just not enough steam on that pass. It never found its way all the way to Robert Lang. And Slager now nearly popped it up there to Brule. Here is Rob Brown, rink wide for Hatcher. Hatcher will take it deep, fighting off Popovich. One hands it to the crease, and Moog looked behind. He wasn't sure where the puck was. Popovich knows where it is, and he clears.
Yeah, that got deflected right on the edge of the crease. Andy Moog looked over his left shoulder to see if it was behind him in the net. Somehow it got by him on the short side, outside the net.
Wawrinka steps across the red line, hands it to Olchuk. Koivu trying to slow him down. Here was Koivu with it. He may try to spring Recchi, but Recchi had to step around for Pittsburgh defenseman Wawrinka. And Slager able to get there for Marty Straka.
That was a smart play by Wawrinka, because Recchi was on the fly. Koivu had complete control of the puck. Wawrinka was able to hold up Recchi so that pass couldn't get to him.
Olchuk now to Straka. Straka had it chopped away, and it's cleared by the Canadians all the way down the ice.
one of the things that Saku Koivu does so well is he makes passes to spots. Recchi is smart enough to get to that spot. Hopefully the man and the puck arrive at the same time. That's what they were trying to accomplish there shorthanded.
Yulanov around the boards. Able to clear, and Chris Tamer back to get it, and this will be an icing call. We were scoreless until just shy of the halfway mark of the second period. Canadians feel you can get rebounds off the pads of Tom Barrasso, and Recchi got one there.
Jagr hasn't had a lot of great scoring chances. On his last shift out, he gets a chance to move from the outside into the middle of the ice, a prime scoring area. You can see he's right at the tops of the circle. Dave Manson, who was playing the left defense for Montreal, lost track of him for a second. He was moving in the opposite direction, and Jagr went right by him.
Canadians trying to end this series. They lead 1-0 here in Game 6. If the Canadians can win this, they will take on Buffalo in the second round. Here's a shot by Slager that's blocked, comes right back to him, rolls it toward Moog. Brunet was there, lost it. Straka sets it up. Francis with a chance deflected before it got to the Canadians' net. Slager with it again off the board. Jagr, his shot hit a skate. It bounces down in front of Moog. Hero trying to bear down against Francis. Straka trying to dig it out of there, and McCreary stops the play with a whistle.
Jiri Slager with some slick work to keep the puck inside the zone, but Montreal really did a great job of boxing out and keeping the Pittsburgh Penguins forwards anywhere away from Andy Moog. There's the slick work I'm talking about. Watch the front of the net, though. Montreal Canadiens will get back. All the black jerseys are to the outside. There's an open alleyway. That's terrific coverage right there. A little sloppy clearing it, but a good job of boxing out.
Well, you can bet the Washington Capitals are probably cheering for the Montreal Canadiens. Washington would then be the highest seed remaining, although the way the first round has gone, I'm not sure that home ice advantage or being seeded higher means anything in this Eastern Conference.
That's for sure. A wacky year in the East, that's for sure. Our congratulations to Detroit and Washington, who both moved on today.
Now, speaking of the Eastern Conference, here's a look at what has happened. Ottawa with that huge upset. What an emotional setting it was at the Corel Center with Ottawa closing it out last night. Montreal leading here. Buffalo with the huge win. And that should read 4 games to 1. They did it in 5 games. And here's a look at the Western Conference. Dallas, Detroit, St. Louis have all won. St. Louis with the sweep. And, of course, a Game 7 tomorrow.
The Cardiac Kids in Edmonton, that's what we're calling them now. They've had some terrific games, and boy, that was an emotional game last night as well.
Curtis Joseph out-dueling Patrick Roy.
Yeah, that's got to worry Colorado a little bit. Curtis Joseph is starting to look like he did last year in their series against Dallas.
Orenka moves it across to Olesen. He paid the price after he moved the puck. He was hit by Ruzhinsky. He's been much more physical, Brian, in this series than I remember seeing Martin Ruzhinsky throughout his career.
He sure has. I mean, that's a great sign when your skilled players start throwing the body around too. It really ignites the other guys, you know, especially it might make a guy feel guilty, like, geez, Marty's doing it, I better do something too.
Orenka's shot deflected wide of Moog. Moving in, Olchuk tried to dump it in front. Manson has it now, and Manson backs it off the boards and almost had Dom Foose sprung behind.
That was a good defense. Sorry, Dave. There was a good reaction there by Manson. You could see Danfus on the fly and did try to go for the bank.
Outside pass nearly clicked there for Savage as Barrasso was moving from left to right. In front it is blocked and cleared by Gronman. Here is Jagr with it. One of the few times he's been able to skate with any space. Francis tried to go across. Straka was intercepted. Back comes Recchi, who has the only goal of the game. Recchi trying to protect the puck. Hands it off to Koivu. Barrasso's down. Koivu with a backhand, and he hit the side of the net. Boy, are these two ever dangerous together, Koivu and Recchi. Corson, the third man in the threesome, tries to set it up. Barrasso to save at the side of the net. Corson wants to dig it out of there, and McCreary has lost sight of it. As Gronman and Koivu, a couple of ex-teammates over in Finland, and Corson coming over to...
Yeah, well, Shane Corson, this guy who's got to take care of Koivu and Recchi, that's one of the main reasons he was put in that line last year in the first place, because neither Recchi or Koivu was very big.
Let's take a look at our Coors Light storyline to this point. Mark Recchi, 4 points in the last 2 games of this series. Montreal 22-3 all-time in playoff series when they lead 3 games to 2. Pittsburgh 11 15 when facing elimination.
And our Coors Light replay is Mark Recchi's goal in this game. A nice shot by Koivu, terrific rebound by Recchi, and it's 1-0. And on the last shift, watch Shane Corson, 27 white, go in behind Tom Barrasso. Barrasso wants to cuff him one. He doesn't even see him. He knows he's there. What's key about that is Shane Corson's been doing that to Barrasso all series long. Skating through the crease, getting in behind Barrasso, making plays from behind the net. It has unnerved Barrasso. You could see it physically in the first game or two. I'm sure he talked about it with his teammates because Pittsburgh really started rocking Corson in behind the net. And Corson's up to his old tricks here in this game 6.
Corson, as you saw, playing in his 99th career playoff game. Tom Barrasso playing in his 100th career playoff game, which is the most of any U.S.-born goaltender in Stanley Cup playoff history. Thornton wins the draw. Ulanov shot was blocked, comes right back to him. He'll try it to set it up at the side of the net for Stevenson, and Barrasso went out and either disguised the poke check pretty well and tripped up Stevenson at the same time, or it was accidental, but McCreary elected not to make a call. Here is Thornton wrapped around. Oh, scored! It trickled through the legs of Barrasso. Stevenson on the wraparound.
Tommy Barrasso came across and hugged the post, but the puck came through his feet. Jonas Höglund, I believe, is the man who scored the goal. A lot of commotion going down around that Pittsburgh net, and added to the confusion. Here's Tommy sliding across. He makes the save, as you can see, but just can't keep it out. Once it's down in between the feet, those big pads are so hard to move. There's Höglund with the wraparound. And Tommy, it went under his stick. I think that's the key. If Barrasso had been able to keep his stick down tight on the ice, he would have been able to push that one away. But once it got in between those feet, Jonas Höglund got a free one.
Stevenson started to make the wraparound move. You're right. Höglund took it over, and just his second career playoff goal. Kevin Constantine, I think, wants this goal looked at.
Well, because of the commotion that was around, I think they're probably asking for a replay, wondering about people in the crease. That's always the first thing that you look for. Let's take a look for ourselves on the shot from above.
Oh, boy. Turner Stevenson's left skate.
Yeah. But they did not ask for a replay. Bill McCreary made the call instantly. They did not go upstairs. 2-0 Montreal.
2 goals on their last 3 shots on goal. Recchi, his third of the playoffs. Höglund, his second.
Anytime a goal is scored now, the team that gets scored on, they're going to ask automatically, go upstairs, go upstairs. Bill McCreary didn't want to. So they're not going to, call a goal back. You know what? They're not going to call the referee and say, don't allow that one. The referee has to ask for the replay.
Terry Gregson went upstairs to check the first goal scored in that Coyotes-Detroit game, and it didn't look like there was anybody even close, and the replay showed there was nobody even close. But it looked like he was taking the safe route. But right here, the goal by Höglund will stand, so the Canadians have struck for 2 here late in period 2. Well, if the Penguins lose, they'll be playing golf, and this guy went a long ways to make one of the most creative hats in Stanley Cup history.
And if Jonas Höglund gets more chances like this, Pittsburgh will definitely be golfing.
Face-off control, Penguins. Slager fakes the shot, moves in, closer, gets it away, hit the goal post. Hit the goal post to the right of Andy Moog.
Face-offs, again, the big key there. Pittsburgh was able to do some damage there. It didn't go in for them, but Montreal's got to get sharper on those face-offs.
A couple of Penguins, I think, believed that this shot was in initially. They know that it got by Andy Moog.
Now, Jaromir Jagr appeared to be celebrating a little bit prematurely, but Jiri Slager, who has been sharp in this series we mentioned in the first period, with some slick stick work, and he just snapped that one. Bing! Right off the post. Look at Jagr. Yeah, it went in, it went in. Nope, didn't.
Andy Moog took that shot off the inside of the knee from Jaromir Jagr in Game 5. That was the goal that Jagr scored. And that made it 3-2, and Andy Moog was just struggling to stay in the game, and Jose Theodore, as you take a look, here it is, hitting that right goalpost on the outside. Theodore, the backup goaltender, was actually out on the ice, and Andy Moog just stayed in there.
That was a key point in the game, Dave. I think that if Moog had to come out there and to go in with a cold goaltender in a 1-goal game with the momentum Pittsburgh had, I thought it was really gutsy and courageous of Moog to stay in there.
Here's the chance now for Jagr, but he mishandled it, tried to pass it out in the slot. It was tipped away by the Canadians. Just over 4 minutes left here in period 2. The Montreal Canadiens with a 2-0 lead. Granlund hands it off Jagr. Trying to go to Barnes. That was stuffed and cleared out to center ice. Penguins making a change. Here comes Corson up the right side. Corson with a chance, and he hit it off the outside of the net to the left of Barrasso. Olofsson able to clear. Brisebois goes to Recchi. Recchi now sends it ahead. Koivu. Koivu fights off a check. Tries to get through Olofsson. Well, look at Koivu just stop on a dime, reverses field. Still trying to stick handle through the Penguin defense. It's knocked away. That's
the kind of stuff that works so well for Mark Recchi. While Koivu's doing all that stuff, attracting 2 or 3 Pittsburgh players, you know number 8 White is getting in the open. Zachary Koivu is terrific at handling the puck in the crowd.
It comes down to Corson. Corson bangs it off the boards now for Mark Recchi. Recchi attacking the Pittsburgh defense. Slides it in on Barrasso. He steers it aside. Now Corson battling against Hicks. Frees himself for a centering pass, and the Penguins were there. And Lang starts it back. Behind the back pass for Hicks up the left side. Hicks taking a look. Tried to beat it out to the deep slot. It was knocked away. Cleared by Recchi in wide of Barrasso on the touch-up by Hatcher. The icing call is made.
Well, there are always injuries in a series, and we mentioned Andy Moog a minute ago, but back in Game 4 it was Brian Savage who got injured. He got a mild concussion from that dinger. He didn't play in Game 5. Then in Game 5, Benoit Brunet wrecked his shoulder up. He was out for a while, ended up coming back into the game, but you could see the pain he was in. Then Andy Moog on the goal by Jagr. Oh, that's Thornton getting hurt. He got a butt end in the eye. And then here's the goal that Jagr scored. Andy Moog got a piece of it. Unfortunately, the piece was right on the inside of his right knee. And that's what we were just alluding to a moment ago, that Moog was able to stay in the game and make all the difference.
There you see Koivu with the hand. He's playing. Thibault with the groin is not dressed. Savage with a concussion. He's playing, as is Brunet. And Quintal with the ankle. And Alain Vigneault may be a rookie coach behind the bench in the National Hockey League, but he'll learn quickly that a list of injuries like that players have to play with are more common than not at playoff time.
Absolutely. Vigneault's an interesting guy. He's got a lot of calm in his demeanor, but there's enough fire under the surface that you can feel. That's important.
Penguins on the road, trailing 2-0 late in the second period. Game 6 as Ruzhinsky makes a move. Nearly set it up for Danfus, and then got the weak shot away that is handled by Barrasso. Don't forget to stay with us here on The Deuce. Immediately following our coverage of Game 6 of this playoff series, we'll have the NHL tonight. Bill Pito, Barry Melrose. They'll be joined once again by Bill Lindsay to bring you all the scores, highlights, and analysis from around the NHL.
Marty Ruzhinsky one-on-one against Kevin Hatcher. Great speed and quickness by Ruzhinsky. Good job of Hatcher for Black to stay with him, but watchman say to get inside the zone. Ruzhinsky will get Hatcher to look down for a second right there and puts it in between the stick and the legs. Turns something into nothing into something, rather.
Hatcher checking the clock and sees there's 2:34 remaining. Not a whole lot of shots. Penguins with only 3 here in the second period.
Both teams having trouble getting to the net to finish off plays to get shots, but still a lot of tempo and some good speed in this game.
Once again, it looked like the Penguins had a set play off that faceoff. Jagr took off with speed, and Slager was trying to find him, Brian, but I think the Canadians pretty well had it figured out.
Yeah, that's the second time we've seen that play now. Trying to loosen up that defense, try to get him sleeping just one time. As they get the puck down low, watch Jagr, top of the screen, Black, 68. Yeah, he starts to float, then go. There's the home run pass, but you could see Montreal was looking for it. Those ones will work every once in a while. You can't try them too many times. Montreal was napping a little bit in the one that Pittsburgh tried in the first period, but it was unsuccessful.
Barnes and Bureau on this faceoff as Stevenson and Slager were fencing. Here's Malakoff with a shot that went just wide. Stevenson couldn't quite reach on the forehand. Bureau in deep for Stevenson, trying to kick it up to his stick. Robin steps into him. Stevenson battles away from that check. Now moves it in deep again for Bureau. Euro and Stevenson both in deep behind Barrasso, who watches the play over his shoulder.
Montreal's not in a hurry to do anything, as you can see. They just want to spend some time in the offensive zone. I think they saw what happened when Saku Koivu's line cycled so well, and it ended up in the Recchi goal. So this Montreal line was out there. You could tell that Alain Vigneault has talked to his players about getting some sustained action. Let's cycle down there, boys. Get them running around inside their own zone, tire them out a little bit. And again, especially late stages here of the second period, to get guys out there on a long shift, might be able to cash in.
Interesting to hear some of the veteran Montreal media talking about Alain Vigneault. And, you know, they said he won't be tested till next year, which is the year before the final year of his contract. I mean, here the guy's 1 year in the league. He'll only be 2 years into the league and doing a heck of a job taking Montreal to the playoffs and potentially winning at least one round. And who knows what else he might be able to accomplish. But it's a tough town, Brian. You played here, you know what the expectations are.
There's more than a touch of cynicism in this town when it comes to coaches, that's for sure.
Recchi and Francis on the face-off deep in the Pittsburgh zone, and Francis controls. Hatcher plays it around now. Jagr. He's starting to hear the boos even when the puck's just coming towards him. Well, the Montreal Canadiens, although it changes from year to year like any other franchise, and it's getting tougher and tougher to build a dynasty. Well, when you mention dynasty, you have to mention the Montreal Canadiens. They've won 24 Stanley Cup champions, 23 officially since the NHL began in 1917-18. They have not won a playoff series since the last Stanley Cup banner was hung here in 1993, and that's when the pressure starts to build.
Yeah, but it's just in that key phrase right there. Not since 1993. In this town, that's a long time.
Boy.
And they're so used to seeing championship teams, you could tell by all the banners and the 24 cups that they've won here, that's what makes the pressure for this team in a very well-balanced National Hockey League. It's tougher than ever.
Well, how many teams would like to say, geez, we haven't
won since 93.
Hung a banner since 93. Things are tough. Here is Koivu working his way in. Koivu sends it deep. Here is Recchi. Recchi tried to put it out in front for Koivu. It was picked off. Koivu got it back momentarily. Now Francis will clear. Francis, Straka, and Jagr against Koivu, Recchi, and Corson. Recchi is checked by Slager. Now it comes to Jagr into the Montreal zone. Jagr waits, has the late man Hatcher. Hatcher tries to put it toward the net. Koivu blocked it. Here's Koivu with it, playing it around the boards. And Corson slides it ahead for Recchi. Varenka, the lone defender, back with this line looking for a change.
There's a real patience to Montreal's game that's starting to show through now. They're looking like the team that knows how to defend the lead properly, and they're doing it right now with this 2-0 lead late in the second period.
Morozov puts it deep. It is picked up by Manson along the boards for Savage. Savage snaps it ahead. It's picked up by Rosinski. Crisscrossing, hands it off to Danfus with speed. Danfus cutting in. Circles the goal, tries to put it in front. Goes to the point. Manson fakes the shot. Danfus spins away from Lang. Back to the point, Manson. Lang able to come up with it. Puts it off the glass, but not out. Here's Rosinski with it. Gets it back to Danfus. Cutting out the front. A chance here. Hit the side of the net. Savage had some room to the left of Barrasso. And that all came about when the Penguins failed to clear the zone. Robert Lang had a chance to do it, and it almost cost the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Pittsburgh got a little sloppy there. They had one chance to clear the puck. They didn't do it. The patience really showed for Montreal on that last chance. Danfus, Savage came out from behind the net. For whatever reason, just couldn't quite handle it.
Well, the team that has had the lead after 2 periods has won every time in this series. It's 2-0 Canadiens. ESPN News Network is next. After 2 periods, will there be 20 minutes left in the Penguins season, or will they have something to say about it? Only 3 shots on goal in that second period when the Canadiens took things over. Crowd was reacting to Jagr and Euro coming together away from the puck. Here comes Slager now. Slager tried to drive a shot from the blue line. Blocked by Popovich. Malakoff for the Canadiens along the boards. It is cleared to center ice. A 2-on-1. Euro and Brune. A good job by Gromman, the youngster. Held in by Stevenson. His shot though deflected wide. Stevenson outbattles 2 Pittsburgh players, 3 of them down there, came up with the puck. Nearly able to set up a teammate.
Cycling in this third period is going to be critical. If Montreal can do it the way they did in the second, this game's over already.
Here's a steal by Morozov. Morozov puts it in front of Kent at the goal post. Robert Lang. It sounded like it may have hit the goal post. We'll wait and see for sure on the replay as Parson dumps it in and Barrasso clears it aside. Well, that's what the Penguins needed badly, was to get on the board here early, get some confidence.
And that's what Andy Moog has done for Montreal throughout this playoffs. Make big saves at the right time, just like the one in the very first shift of this game that could have sent things Pittsburgh's way early.
Barrasso leaving it there. Chris Tamer now sends it ahead for Hatcher. Hatcher plays it off the boards. Andreas Johansson. Good play by Downfus to knock it away. Now it's picked up and they try to put it in front for Straka back at the line. Here's Olsen with a chance. Save made. Moog down with the puck cleared by the Canadiens.
Good hard work down low. Stefan Quintal was on the wrong side of Jaromir Jagr, though. So Montreal got a little bit of luck there. There was a shot from the point. Andy Moog had to go down. He was a little bit slow getting up. Again, he hurt the inside of his right knee in the last game, getting a piece of a shot that actually Jaromir Jagr scored on. It missed the pad. So obviously he would have some swelling and soreness because of that. He also got tangled up with Jagr there a little bit, and Andy was just a little touch slow getting up on that last play. Prior to that, good chance for Robert Lang from the slot on the one-timer. And Andy Moog got across with the leg, but I think that one clanked off the pipe. Yeah, it looks like Moog got his foot on it from the looks of that second shot. Nonetheless, the bottom line is for Robert Lang, he came away empty-handed.
Straka to take the face-off. For the Penguins, Vinny Downfus, the captain of the Canadiens, will take the draw. Early third period. Straka breaks free of a check, but it's the Canadiens that come up with it. Savage stepped on the puck, but Downfus one hands it in on Barrasso. Marenka picks it up there.
Smart play, good play there by Downfus. Go through the middle of the zone, fight off the check, get the puck deep.
Here is Johansson now. He'll dump it back behind Moog, who got back there to block it. Now pushes it to Popovich. And here is Downfus. Downfus starting it back down from Montreal between the circles. Gets the shot away. Rebound from Malakov. A great stop. Oh, and the other rebound slid underneath Barrasso. Right into his pads. He never saw it. Pittsburgh got a huge break there after Barrasso made the initial save.
Can you believe that one didn't go in the net? Brian Savage is the one Montreal Canadian who's had no luck tonight. Watch this play develop. That was Malakov holding on, making the shot. And then a good close-up look of Tommy Barrasso as the puck came right back to him like a magnet. Here's the play, the initial shot. Malakov comes right through late. There's the rebound. You can go out on the far side. But what you don't see is that Brian Savage, who came into the picture later on, had a chance to just bury that one into an empty net. But he could not get the handle on it properly. And Tom Barrasso's had a strong series, made a lot of big saves, bailed his team out an awful lot of the time. He needed a little luck, and he got it.
Well, the team with the lead after period 2 has won all 5 of the games. And it is, of course, Montreal that has the lead here for the 4th time. Will it be the charm for that 4th victory that will send them to the second round against Dominik Hasek and the Buffalo Sabres?
Well, something had to give here because Montreal coming into this game and won all the odd games. Pittsburgh had won all the even games, so it should have been Pittsburgh's turn to win. But they're down 2-0 here in the third.
Well, Francis is out there now with Barnes and Morozov. Face-off controlled by the Penguins. Barnes, Francis, and now Morozov, but had it stripped away by Recchi. Recchi dumps it back behind Barrasso. Gromman has it there now for the Penguins.
1-2-2 here by Montreal. When they dump it in, if they don't have a chance to get it, they are not going to go in there unless they have a chance of retrieving the puck. They're going to sit back in the neutral zone, make it tough for Pittsburgh to make plays coming out.
Barnes dumps it across the Montreal zone. Freeze block. Moves it quickly for Manson. Manson Just did get it by Barnes, and now Recchi rolls it across the neutral zone. Picked up by Koivu. Recchi trying to break free from his check. He did, but the pass not quite on the mark. Koivu has to go all the way back center ice to get control. Koivu now for Brunet, and Recchi had not cleared the zone. Well, the Pittsburgh Penguins know the task that faces them. They have a big hill to climb. You talk about tradition with this franchise. The 24th head coach of the Canadiens, Alain Vigneault, his last 8 years in junior hockey in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, but he may have a major headache if he has more guys added to that injury list, although several of these players are in the lineup. But we understand that Saku Koivu left and went down to the dressing room. And again, we're not sure whether or not he may have taken a hit on that left hand. He has been a huge spark for this Montreal team since coming into the lineup for Game 5.
Vigneault said we're not the same team without him. He established that right away in Game 5. Koivu has just picked the momentum of the Canadiens up so much. It's incredible.
Here is Tamer trying to chop it out of the zone. It's picked up by Robert Lang, and it's rolled in past Popovich. Andy Moog forced to come out and play it. He'll go along the boards with it. Hicks got a stick on it. Here is Jagr. Jagr is belted to the ice by Stevenson, and Jagr is not going to get up quickly. Back the other way, Malakoff. Hands it off for Brunet. Jagr is going to stay on the ice, but boy, he is not 100%. It was Turner Stevenson that hit him. And Jagr now will head to the bench. The Pittsburgh Penguins again without their big open ice hitter, Darius Kasparaitis, but it's been Montreal that's been throwing the big hits here tonight.
Turner Stevenson really caught Jaromir Jagr coming outside, inside, and it shook him up. You can tell by the look on his face. You don't get many chances to catch the big guy with his head down. Stevenson popped him. Here it is. Stevenson had rhythm, had some momentum going, rather. Slow motion doesn't do it justice. That gives you a better idea of how much it hurt Jaromir Jagr. When you have to look around in your feet and behind you to find where the puck is coming from, you don't get a chance to see where guys like him are coming from.
Turner Stevenson, 6'3", 220 pounds. Jagr's not a little guy either at 6'2", 228. Now, speaking of little guys, Saku Koivu is back, and that was the reaction from the Molson Center crowd here. Johansson sends it deep. Ulanov took a hit from Johansson. Johansson trying to dig it out of there, keeps it alive for Olchuk, tried to feed it back to Straka, who had moved in. And that forces Barrasso to come out of the net and play it. Wrists it off the glass, through center ice, and back into the Canadian zone. Ulanov will pick it up there. Straka pursuing him. It is tipped by Corson down the ice, and this will be icing on the touch-up by Wawrinka. And we're going to give you one more opportunity at our Sports Zone question. The biggest upset in the playoffs the last 5 years. Was it this year's Jersey-Ottawa series, last year's Edmonton-Dallas, in '95 when the Rangers were the 8th seed and they upset the top seed Quebec in the Eastern Conference playoffs, or was it in '94 when San Jose defeated Detroit? Up on the NHL page at ESPN.com.
It's going to be really interesting to see exactly how the voting comes out on that. Some pretty good choices. All-time playoff home record for the Montreal Canadiens. Over 70%, not bad.
Well, in this building, just 7 home playoff games coming into this one, and Montreal had won only 2 and lost 5. It's hard to recreate that atmosphere. That's
impossible.
You can't do it. I mean, they talked about that today, the game that was shown from the Fleet Center, as Jagr gets a chance on a right pad, saved by Moog. The Fleet Center not the same as the old Boston Garden.
You can't recreate it. You have to create a new one.
That's it.
The key here. The next couple of shifts are going to be key for Pittsburgh. Jagr looks like he's got a little bit of fire in him right now. He's upset by that hit. And 8 times are wasted. Jagr or somebody has to get something going here for Pittsburgh.
Jagr hands it off now for Slager. Slager a bit off balance, couldn't control. Back the other way comes Bureau. Bureau against Rodman. Drives the shot. Barrasso wasn't sure where it was. He looked behind him.
All eyes are on Jaromir Jagr all the time, and for good reason. The guy has tremendous skills. Throughout this series, he's had to wear 3 defensemen instead of the normal 2. on just about every shift of every game. That has not happened here tonight against Zarley. Zalapski was injured very early on in the first period, did not return. But Malakoff and Popovich have been outstanding. 19 for 19, and there hasn't been any room to breathe throughout this game. Those two big guys have done a great job. It takes big men to play against Jágr because he's so big and strong. You got to be quick and fast, too. Malakoff certainly has speed. Popovich is smart. Popovich is on the offside, so he doesn't have quite as much contact as Malakoff does.
This face-off deep in the Pittsburgh zone, and Morozov battles, had it knocked away. Hatcher recovers. Hatcher, not much room, able to bank it off the boards, back into the Montreal end. Brisebois got there just ahead of Straka. We have played 6 minutes here in the third period. It remains a 2-0 Montreal lead. Morozov pass broken up by Brisebois. And we've got a penalty away from the play. And it looks like holding the stick is going to be the call against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Summer is almost here, and the Deuce will get you ready with ESPN2's Summer Sizzle. Tomorrow night at 12:30 a.m. Eastern, 9:30 p.m. Pacific. Summer Sizzle brings you the best in outdoor sports, including volleyball, mountain biking, and surfing. An early summer on the Deuce. They play some of Brian Engblom's surfing music from Southern California, where he's undoubtedly looking forward to getting back for a couple of days.
I think it's where I left it. I haven't been there in a while. Here's the holding call, holding the stick on the last play. Morozov, 95 black in the penalty box, and it's not what Pittsburgh needs right now. Montreal on the power play.
6:11, the time of the penalty. 0 for 2 of the Canadians so far with just 3 shots. But they certainly could put a big nail into it for the Penguins. Montreal could. Well, here come the short-handed Penguins as Slager tries to pull his way through. Andy Moog able to clear it off the board.
I really believe that if Pittsburgh's going to get anything going, they're either going to need some power plays or it's going to come from their defenseman. Yuri Slager's trying to get something going, but I'm not sure his timing's great. They're a man short. It's not time for him to get caught in the offensive zone.
Recky's pass deflects to Malakoff. Back to the line. Good job, Brisebois to hold it in. Malakoff to the net. Tip save. Rebound tip for Corson. Recchi hands it off, and Koivu scores!
Slap that left hand. He still needs it in order to score a second goal if he gets a chance. Montreal is oozing confidence in every aspect of the game. That was a smart play by Malakoff to get the puck quickly down low to Corson, who was on the doorstep. Corson got one free whack at it, loosened it up. Recchi to Koivu, 3-0.
They are standing in Montreal, sensing a series-clinching victory here tonight over the Pittsburgh Penguins.
And you know what? I think they're going to be like this, the fans, that is, through much of the rest of the game, because they're going to have a little contest with the people in Edmonton and the people in Ottawa, the other Canadian cities where their teams are battling to stay into the playoffs. Saku Koivu has lit this place up. The fans are going to be nuts for the last couple of minutes in this game.
Brian, you had the pleasure of playing with some great players. It's not just what they bring to the table in terms of their own talent. It's what they do for their teammates very often that's just as important.
And Saku Koivu has done a tremendous amount for this team since he came back last game. Mark Recchi in particular, his line mate Shane Corson, has been terrific since he came back. They had trouble getting going. They've really made an impact since he returned.
Shot blocked by Popovich. He'll just clear it back into center ice. So the holding the stick penalty on Morozov cost Pittsburgh the power play goal by Koivu. It's a 3-0 Montreal lead. Stevenson with another huge hit. That time on Olofsson.
Turner Stevenson just leveled Olofsson. Wow, that's the second big hit this period there for Stevenson.
We may start to see some of the frustration of the Pittsburgh Penguins. That puck slides by Hatcher. And icing is the indication on the touch-up by Grönman.
Turner Stevenson has had an impact, folks. Impact being the key word. That's how you finish your checks. Look at the look on Olsson's face there. That's the way it's gone for Pittsburgh most of this game. And after that, Bureau, who has had a couple of whacks at Jágr. Jágr getting a little frustrated at this point. The play is going on. This is not after a whistle. It's during the play. And it's been difficult for Jaromir. He hasn't had much room tonight.
Jágr can only shake his head and wonder. It's been a marvelous bit of strategy by the Montreal Canadiens. They closed their practices heading into the playoffs. Assistant coach Dave King got a lot of the credit for implementing the system with the third defenseman. Here is Lang now out of the corner, centering pass, and Moog blocked it. And then cleared it off the boards, and it's hammered out of there by Damphousse. Barrasso wandering way out of the net with Recchi coming at him. Wawrinka tries to clear a giveaway. Manson Listeo sets it up. Recchi a chance, and he slid it just wide. He's upset at himself. He had Barrasso moving to his left and tried to shoot it back to the goalie's right and just missed his target.
And that's what they want to do with Tommy. Get him moving and then pull the trigger from an angle. Recchi knew he missed the shot.
Recchi centers a chance here, and it hit the outside of the post as Recchi set up Corson. Koivu out there as well.
The number one line has been reestablished. Vincent Damphousse line, usually the number two line all year, has been the number one line through the first 4 games. Saku Koivu's return has changed all that, and the number one line of Recchi, Corson, and Koivu has been terrific in this game.
Bouncing puck center ice, bounces over the stick of Jágr. He regains. Lloyd Bureau is running right at him. Bureau with a steal, back the other way against Barrasso. Bureau, and it was stopped by Barrasso. Got a piece of it with the left pad, and back comes Johansson with some speed. He'll get the return pass. Johansson sets it up. Olchuk missed the net. Now Jágr knocked away from him, and it bounces back center ice. Grönman hands it off now for Olsson. Jágr with it, spins away from Stevenson. Jágr still controls. Hands it off for Olchuk. He is put to the boards by Brunet. And now Damphousse comes up with it, trying to catch the Penguins on a change. Here comes Damphousse. Damphousse to the backhand. Grönman rides into the corner, and back out comes Rob Brown now for Pittsburgh. Brown backhands it. Tries to bull his way through Ulanov. Moog out of the net, plays it around the board, captured to the net. Save made by Moog, and the puck goes to the corner. Tim Call is there, up the glass with it. Brown with a big hit along the boards on Savage. Now Ulanov hustling back to the Canadiens, wraps it around. Hatcher is waiting there. Puts it back in deep for Francis. Francis behind the net. Had it knocked away. Brown picks it up. Penalty coming against the Canadiens. A wraparound is stopped by Moog. And a power play for the Penguins. As we pass the halfway mark of this third period.
One of the few times that Pittsburgh was able to get any sustained action into the Montreal zone, and that's the key. We've seen it work for Montreal in this game. It was working for Pittsburgh just for a second, and Ronnie Francis nearly cashed in. As there was a delayed penalty call going on, Francis will get the puck behind the net a second time and walk out there. Andy Moog's right. Oh, yeah, Andy got across there just in time. Brian Savage took a penalty on the play. A critical time for the Pittsburgh Penguins right now. They will go on the power play, and they don't need just momentum, folks. They need rubber in the Montreal net. No style points here. They won't add up. They've got to find a way to get it behind Andy Moog. They've shown times where they moved the puck around effectively and got some good shots on net. But Andy Moog's calm demeanor has spread throughout the rest of the Montreal Canadiens. That's one of the great things about Andy and his experience. He has been outstanding in this series.
Penguins were outstanding here in Game 4 with 5 special teams goals. But other than that, I mean, the Canadiens have done a terrific job. Montreal has controlled the series 5-on-5. And other than that outburst, they've done well on special teams as well in this series.
Yeah, Pittsburgh been really streaky, real streaky on their power plays. Montreal's been more consistent, scoring on a more regular basis.
Power play goal scored by Koivu, giving them a power play goal. Montreal, that is, in every game but one in this series. Barrasso out to settle it down now for Hatcher. Hatcher moves it ahead now for Francis. Francis into the Montreal zone. Keeps the puck, hands it off. A chance here in front. Deflected by Barnes and Moe. Sprawling made the save. And the puck cleared. Here is Bernay just putting it past Hatcher.
That's a bad sign for Pittsburgh. The good thing was terrific play. Excellent puck movement. Bad thing, no finish.
Here is Jagr spun around by Manson. Robert Line couldn't get to it, and the puck is cleared by Recchi.
Good creativity there. Ronnie Francis, as usual, started the play. They did a nice job, and Andy Moog was able to cover it up at the end.
Play offside at the Canadian blue line with 8:22 left here in the third period. And, you know, one of the things we talked about coming into this series, there was a lot of guesswork, especially in the Montreal media. Who was going to start in goal? Was it going to be Jocelyn Thibault? Was it Andy Moog? Conventional wisdom said Moog. So in that sense, it wasn't a surprise. And here is the reason that Andy Moog has been such a standout in this series, and obviously the right choice. His experience, and I think, as you pointed out, Brian, the decision as to who would start in this series was made when the Canadians brought Andy Moog here as a free agent from Dallas last year. They felt they needed that experience at this time of year.
I think they had to start the experience. It's the only common sense thing to do. If Andy had have faltered, they could have come back with Thibault and been correct. That's the correct decision-making process. They did it, and Andy has come through really big.
Popovich able to hammer it down the ice as Barrasso comes out now.
And again, and Andy, I mean, obviously struggled in the one game. He gave up 5 goals on 9 shots, and that was in game 4, but it's only 1 loss. And the fact that early in game 5 he came out and was terrific just shows you his calm demeanor. I'll tell you, it has really spread to the rest of this Montreal team. You can feel it in this building as you watch the play develop here. It started midway through the second period for sure. We showed you some of the highlights at the second period intermission. How Montreal is definitely in the groove now, and Pittsburgh is trying to piece something together, but it's not happening right now.
10 seconds left in the power play opportunity for the Penguins. Canadians, though, still working as hard with a 3-0 lead as they worked when it was scoreless. Knocked down by Recchi. Recchi will just kill some time here. It's picked up now by Hatcher. Off the boards and tipped by Barnes. Now Francis able to get it by Brisebois. Francis, he has Jagr with him. Francis with a try. Save made by Moog. And the rebound went past Jagr. Jagr in the corner with it now. He sends it across for Slager. Yuri Slager tried to go back to Jagr. Jagr along the end boards. Brisebois trying to tie him up there. And the Canadians winning the battles again along the boards as they have done for most of this series. It is 3-0 Canadians. Well, with the Lane Vigneault club in control here at 3-0, it looks now like there will be only one Game 7 in the first round of the playoffs, and you know ESPN's National Hockey Night will be there. Steve Levy and Darren Pang will call all the action as the Edmonton Oilers try to pull yet another upset in the 1998 playoffs. They'll take on Peter Forsberg and the Avalanche. 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 Pacific tomorrow on ESPN.
Everybody turns to Jagr and Barnes and Francis to do the magic for Pittsburgh, and they've got to come up with some magic now. The big line's out there.
Barnes will take the draw for the Penguins against Bureau. Deep in the Canadian zone. It's one cleanly back to Slager. A try save made by Moog. He's down, can't quite get back up, but he is able to poke the puck along the end boards, and the Canadians clear. And this is going to be icing. Now the touch up by Slager.
Well, Pittsburgh won the draw pretty cleanly again, right back to Yuri Slager. Faceoffs have been funny in this series. Pittsburgh dominated for a long time, and Montreal seemed to recover a little bit. And this one snapped right back to Slager, rather.
Right.
Slager gets it right on target. Good boxing out there again by the Montreal defense. Even though Malakoff gets pushed down by Jagr, everything was cleared very nicely.
Well, other than Game 4, when you mentioned that Andy Moog gave up the 5 goals on the 9 shots, he has stopped 127 of 135 shots. That's a save percentage of over 94% over the rest of the series.
Well, if you're going to go bad, you might as well go bad all at once and just throw out that game. It's exactly what Andy Moog and the Montreal Canadiens did, and they recovered extremely well.
That's another reason why it made so much sense going with a veteran, because he's a guy that certainly can bounce back from that kind of a performance. Canadians able to block it as Barnes tried to dump it into the zone, and now the play is offside. Well, early games in a series are like early games in a regular season. You want to get the wins early because you can't get them back. Turning points, let's go back to Game 1 overtime. Morozov, only the second time in Stanley Cup history, a penalty shot, a chance to win it and give the Penguins the 1-0 lead. He beat Moog, but he couldn't beat the goalpost. And then Brunet with this laser shot over the right shoulder at Barrasso. Yes, Pittsburgh bounced back with a victory in Game 2, but how things would have likely been very different if Morozov had scored on that penalty shot.
Yeah, there was a lot of pressure on him there. He felt it too. After he missed the penalty shot, he was upset with himself, needless to say. And you're right, when you look back on things, there are so many keys to it, and that was one of them right there. Andy Moog was strong in that game.
Here was Savage sending it deep. Barrasso out to play it, wristing it up the boards. It'll be picked up by Robert Lang. Lang appeared to lose an edge on his skate. Lost the puck as well. Now Olchuk up the middle. It's tipped by Straka into the Canadian zone. Manson is there. And we have a whistle to stop it with a hand pass. Well, it looks like the 7 seed is going to beat the 2 seed here. And speaking of low seeds winning and upsets, here's the results of our poll. And over 14,000. We certainly appreciate that. And Brian, you and I were talking about this before the game. The San Jose-Detroit upset, not as fresh, obviously, in people's mind as Ottawa, New Jersey, but a few more felt that that was the biggest upset of the last 5 years. And thanks to all of you for participating in our Sports Zone poll tonight. Well, they started the Hey Hey Goodbye song here at the Molson Center.
Pittsburgh's still trying to piece something together, but they just don't have any momentum. And Vinny Danfus and his teammates have been terrific. Kevin Constantine looking up and down his bench trying to figure out who he might be able to go to in this situation to light a fire, get something going, maybe have one go in off a leg.
Kevin Constantine did a great job. He's one of the potential candidates for Coach of the Year, but he's been around long enough to know you're not gauged by what you do in the regular season. It's mainly in the playoffs. He had some horrible regular seasons in San Jose and a couple of wonderful playoffs. It didn't necessarily lead to job longevity there, but I mean, he knows that it was wonderful what they accomplished this year. They did some great things in Pittsburgh, but they have to look at what has happened in this series, Brian, and make some personnel adjustments to make themselves a more playoff dangerous team.
Always, that's true. And he was the coach of that San Jose team that all our sports people
right.
just voted on and upset Detroit. So he knows what things are like. But probably of all the series, with the exception maybe of Boston, Washington, this one had 2 teams very closely matched. There wasn't much difference on paper between the 2 of them. All the players on both teams acknowledged that, and it has definitely been a battle, but with 5 minutes to go here, Pittsburgh just can't seem to find a crack in the armor and get anything going against a very strong and determined Montreal Canadian team right now.
Francis hands it off. Yager up the middle, goes to the backhand, lost control of it, and the puck slides wide. Yager did everything right except finish it. He made the move, went to the backhand, he had the open side, and then the puck just rolled off his stick.
That's 3 times now. That would have tied up the game. 3 times where Pittsburgh has come up with good plays and had more than a great chance of scoring a goal, but there was no finish.
Well, the Canadian fans are sensing that Jaromir Jagr is in trouble of going out in the playoffs.
Jaromir Jagr got a great scoring chance on his last shift. Watch, the puck is rolling. It goes underneath Andy Moog. Jagr can't get back to it, but that's what's gone on here in the 3rd period. Here's another real good look. It got by Andy, but he got a glove on it just to redirect it by the empty net. 5 goals on 9 shots in Game 4, as we referred to. and then 127 saves on 135 shots other than that.
So Moog stands in. Looking at this face-off that is controlled by the Penguins, but the Warenka shot was wide of the net, held in at the right point by Straka, but he lifted it over the glass and out of play.
Well, one of the questions I guess we all have is, Ronnie Francis, are you going to be a Pittsburgh Penguin next year? A free agent. And he's done some tremendous things, won 2 Stanley Cups with the Pittsburgh Penguins. He feels that he has been underpaid the last couple of years, and in today's market, there is no doubt that he has been. The management knows that, and boy, there will be some teams out there that'll go after Ronnie Francis real hard this summer.
No question. I mean, you think of a team like Chicago that's looking for a veteran guy up the middle. They feel that the Jamnov would be a great number 2 center if they could get somebody in there. There's going to be some other candidates for free agency. And
well, I can think of 25 other teams that could use him.
Absolutely.
He can play anywhere. He's terrific.
Warenka for Francis. Quick centering pass. Stevenson is there to clear. Younger is bounced around. And the puck cleared by the Canadiens to center ice. Stevenson left side now for Bureau, and he just puts it in deep with under 4 minutes left now in this game, in this series, and in the season for the Pittsburgh Penguins, unless they can mount an absolutely miraculous comeback. And after what we saw in that St. Louis-LA series, anything seems in the realm of possibility in these playoffs. Here is Hatcher behind the net, looking out in front. The puck never got there. Koivu will come up with it, and Koivu, with his speed, will protect the puck and one-handed back into the Pittsburgh zone. Recchi with a hit. Here is Recchi, and he dumps it back behind the Pittsburgh goal as the Canadiens are just going to continue to do whatever they can, Brian, to take time off the clock.
They're playing it smart. They have confidence. They're executing very well in the middle of the ice, making the smart plays, coming out of their zone, keep everything to the boards, skate to open ice, over the red line, and in.
The Montreal Canadiens trying to win a playoff series for the first time since the '93 finals against Barry Melrose and the LA Kings, but we're going to get a penalty here.
Brian Savage, interference. Pittsburgh turned the puck over inside the Montreal end, make a quick pass from the corner out front. Brian Savage came back to the slot area to help out his teammates, and it turns out to be an interference call right about there. Top of the circle, Brian Savage, 2 minutes interference.
Well, down 3-0, 2:44 left potentially in your season. Do you pull Barrasso? He's over by the bench talking with the coaches. Go for the 6-on-4 skating advantage. Right now, Barrasso looks like he's going to skate back.
I believe that's Thomas Grondman. He got whacked into the end boards by Mark Recchi, who was finishing a check, and the side of his face got slapped into the glass. There's the hit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that one hurt. The last gasp here for Pittsburgh. I mean, they need to make something happen. I mean, it has to happen very quickly because they're down 3, 2:44 to go in the game.
Power play number 6 for Pittsburgh. Obviously unable to convert with nothing on the board against Andy Moog. Here is Hatcher. Drops it back to the line. Olofsson drives the shot. It didn't get through. Picked up by Hatcher. A shot. And that bounced off of something. Went wide of Moog. Back to Hatcher at the line. Kevin Hatcher to the net. Tipped and a save made by Moog. And the puck cleared by Bureau to the board. And he'll fight off Kevin Hatcher to clear it.
Smart playing on the power play by Pittsburgh. Just get the puck to the net. Ronnie Francis was in front. They can't get any luck right now. Francis deflected one wide of the net. He couldn't even get a chance at his own rebound.
Brzezinski protecting the puck. Hands it off for Danfus, and up to join the rush now is Malakoff. Danfus and Malakoff 2-on-1. Danfus shoots, and the save made by Barrasso. Now Barnes takes over for the Penguins. Under 2 minutes to go in this one. Olofsson slides it ahead. Francis for the Penguins tried to hand it off to Olchuk. It was knocked away. Canadiens clear. Robert Lyon, that puck hit him on the back of the leg. They sweep it back behind Moog. Now Brisebois failed to clear. Brown plays it along the boards. Wawrinka held it in. Here's Brisebois battling with Brown. Now it is cleared off the glass by Recchi, and he chopped it out to center ice. Here is Lyon. Barrasso goes to the bench. Rob Brown tees it up, but it was blocked by Recchi. Puck cleared around the boards, but not out. Brown with a drive save made by Moog. And Manson able to clear. 6 skaters for Pittsburgh, 4 for Montreal. Here is Brown to Jagr. Jagr, the shot of a save by Moog. Now it's in. It's a goal. Or is it a whistle? The red light is on. The puck is over the line. But Bill McCreary is indicating he had blown the whistle. And that might just put it in a nutshell right there for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
No doubt about that.
Well, we've got the cameras and we've got the microphones.
Yeah, you could hear it. That was the second whistle you heard.
Okay.
You could hear it the first time around. A lot of noise. You know what? Pittsburgh argued a little bit after the fact. But I think they heard it too. Just one of those things. Referee Bill McCreary didn't see the puck, blew the whistle. It was still rolling in between Andy Moog's legs. And when you're the team on top, that's what happens to you. And when you're the team on the bottom like Jaromir Jagr, things just haven't gone right for them here in the third. Now that's 4 times now where they've had scoring chances or things go bad on them. It just won't go in for Pittsburgh tonight. It just doesn't seem to be in the cards for them. Nothing Tom Barrasso can do now. He's got to sit back and watch and see if the season's over.
Still one of the great comeback stories considering the shoulder surgery he went through.
Yep.
And the crowd here in Montreal is all on their feet as they are announcing here that tickets for second-round playoff home games against the Buffalo Sabres will be going on sale. Buffalo, the number 6 seed, will have home ice advantage against Montreal, the number 7 seed. And that should be a dandy matchup.
Oh, yeah. Those two teams really go at it.
Here is Otuk, puts it out in front. It's a puck. Jagr pulled the trigger quickly, but it didn't get through. It comes back out to Jagr again. Savage getting set to come out of the box. A long one-timer sails wide of the net. Now it's picked up. Barnes' a shot. That was blocked by Brunet. Takes his time, lifting it along the boards, and it's out through the neutral zone and back into the Pittsburgh zone. Hatcher gets to it. No icing here. Half a minute remaining. Francis tries to center. Here's Jagr. It's poked away from him. Euro will clear, and this crowd will take you to the final buzzer. .6 on the clock. So the crowd tried to take us to the final buzzer, but .6 seconds of formality to drop the puck, Brian.
Montreal have not won a playoff series since 1993 when they won the Stanley Cup. That changes right now.
It is official now. The fireworks go off in Montreal. And these two teams, after trying to beat each other's brains in for 6 games, line up for one of the truly great traditions in sport. They will shake hands. The Penguins will congratulate the Canadiens for moving on. The Canadiens will congratulate the Penguins for a hard-fought battle